This is Travis Wayne Goodsell. It's early in the morning, and I've got a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad hair thing going on, so I had to wear the hat, and of course, being an 80s child, I have to wear it backwards. Even though our Little League Baseball coach insisted that we don't wear it this way. And so I'm saving, and then we'll be uploading the video from last night about my horrible parents, and they're Mormon, so of course they're horrible. But I got an idea while watching the next episode of Blue Bloods, as I indicated from the previous video, and so I thought, hey, why not talk about Utah and their corruption? Good enough, or you can't refuse. And so, hey, well, why not? So let me bring up the Constitution first, and then we'll go to the Utah statute, and then we'll discuss corruption of Utah as indicated by the Mormon Church. Okay, United States Constitution. Maps come up before Constitution. What's up with that? Okay, so let's see. Show more on Constitution Project. Alrighty then, laddie. Nope, this is Article 1. Article 3. Article 4. Okay, Article 4, Section 2, citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. And Section 4 of Article 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government. It does not say a democracy. The news, even the left-wing media, is claiming that we, the people, need a democracy. No. Republican form of government. That's our Constitution. This is what we're discussing today, and how Utah, as the example, is violating the Constitution. So what kind of Republican form of government? Socialist Republic? Like Russia? The USSR? SR? Socialist Republic? No! We're not supposed to be communist. Well, but it says, what about Representative Republic? Because we vote for representatives. Well, no, we actually don't vote. It's an electorate that does the voting for us, because we can't be trusted. But nevertheless, and notwithstanding, no, it's not a representative Republican form of government either. Well, then what kind of government, Travis? Well, Article 6. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof. So if there are laws that are not in the Constitution, they have to be made in pursuance of the Constitution. They can't just make whatever laws they want and violate the Constitution. And so, yeah, and then treaties under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. We are to be a constitutional republic. It says it right in the Constitution. And so, Mormons say the Constitution was divinely inspired by God, and the Book of Mormon, the main religious text, the other Bible of the Mormons, that people who don't know who Mormons are call it. It has King Mosiah. And King Mosiah decides, I'm giving up the kingdom. You know, my son doesn't want it, but if I give it to one of my other sons, my birthright blessing son may get jealous and want to actually have the kingdom, and so then he's going to cause problems, and there'll be contentions and wars and blah blah blah, and so I'm doing away with kingship altogether. Monarchy gone. And he establishes the law of Mosiah, a constitution. Now, Mormons believe that this is a historical fact, that it was had among the ancient inhabitants, but if you have actually done your research, you know that the Book of Mormon isn't, and so you then say that the Book of Mormon is junk. I'm not going to read it, I'm not going to study it. Okay, but it's got some good ideas in it. So, and this is talking about our nation. You know, we revolted against King George of England, and as a result, our founding fathers created a constitution, and they said in the document that we are supposed to be a constitutional republic, that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding, which means states cannot violate the Constitution. Everybody must adhere to the Constitution. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. And then no religious tests. Oops, Mormons. Oh, he's a Mormon, I'm voting for him. I'm going to pause and take care of the video and come right back. Okay, so do you understand what I'm speaking to you? The Constitution is the supreme law. It is not the police. It is not the legislatures of either the federal government or the state. It is not the courts, whether supreme or state courts. They don't make law in the first place, but yet they're making laws. You know, abortion. Look at Roe v. Wade. Oh, it's established law. No, it's not a law. Roe v. Wade is not a law. It is just a decision that the claim of unconstitutionality is wrong. That people are allowed legally to have an abortion. So what then do states do about it? Utah bans abortion. What? People can sue the state of Utah to have abortion and use Roe v. Wade. Oh, but the state will not allow it and will take it to the Supreme Court and have them re-decide the issue. That's again, it's already been established as unconstitutional. The legislature now has to take over and make a law or amendment to have abortion legalized, but they're not doing it. And so we've got all this division throughout the land. People are rioting, saying, it's murder! You know, guys even claiming it's murder, despite their wet dreams and the murder of millions of potential humans. And a woman with her monthly cycle, the murder of potential babies. You know, religiously symbolic, but people don't catch on. And they push for murder as the cause, but anyway, I won't bring that issue up. We'll talk about police and the unwarranted searches and seizures that goes on in the state of Utah. And so, yeah, let's go to the Bill of Rights. It came out after the Constitution, but was put in with the Constitution. So it is now part of the supreme law of the land, as long as any of these Bill of Rights are not contrary to the Constitution, as long as they support the theme. And what is the theme? It's the preamble. You know, right to life, liberty, property. All laws must protect everyone, not just white males, everyone. And so, yeah, we shouldn't have had amendments saying that women could have the right to vote and thus be treated equal in society. And we shouldn't have had an amendment so that blacks can be treated equal and no longer be in servitude. It was already in the Constitution, yes, even though the Founding Fathers were hypocrites. And so people then say, well, they meant that white people. Yeah, no. Doesn't work that way. You can't turn the Constitution to allow criminal behavior. Again, anything in the Constitution to the contrary notwithstanding. Which means if the Constitution has a law that violates a citizen's right to life, liberty, and property, it's unconstitutional. So the Constitution had in it the release of black people from slavery. We didn't need an 18th Amendment. We just needed to have it go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court would then say, yeah, this means everybody, we can't have slavery. They didn't follow that process, and then they made a law and another amendment, but, you know, we have never followed the Constitution in our nation. Never. We're not doing it. We've turned us into a representative socialist republic. We haven't even bothered trying to follow a constitutional pattern. Okay, so, for police. Amendment number 4. So Article 4, and then we had Article 6, and here's Amendment 4. The right of the people. Oh, it's white people. No. To be secure in their persons. Right to life. Houses, papers, and effects. That's property. Not slaves. That means physical property. Objects, not people. See, because again, if you're trying to claim that, you know, slaves are your effects, then the people who are your slaves are not secure in their persons. So you're violating the Constitution and Amendment 4 by having slaves. You can't do it. So businesses, if you are paying your workers less than living wage, you are enslaving them. You are not making them secure in their person. Houses, papers, and effects. They can't live. They're forced to get other means of money. Oh. See, if we were following the Constitution, we wouldn't have the problems we're having today. Okay, and so the right is against unreasonable searches and seizures. So this whole internet privacy, we're not supposed to be searched. Our hard drives, our computers are not supposed to be searched. Even though the United States legislature last year passed the law that gave them the right to search our hard drives. Not just browsing history, our hard drives. And of course our NSA and any of the Department of Justice organizations, you know, they were already doing it. Utah had built, what was it, an NSA headquarters or spying center right here in Harriman. And that's unconstitutional. You can't do unreasonable searches and seizures. And what is unreasonable? No warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. If they're just randomly searching, that's unconstitutional. You can't just go searching on the internet for IP addresses and go roaming around. That's unconstitutional. And people who are doing that, who are hackers or spreading malware, they're criminals. They need to be pursued. But the people who created the computers are not making that easy for cops to trace them down and find them. Interesting. They're criminals? Yes, federal criminals, because this involves big time stuff. As in Blue Bloods, when they caught the person who stole a woman's purse, and the woman said she had many credit cards, it then became an escalated charge for a financial fraud. I can't remember the term they used for it, but yeah, this is serious criminal behavior to violate that. The Deseret News, go to their privacy policy, their terms and conditions privacy policy. They just updated it this year, earlier this year, in 2018. Read it. I know it's a lot of small print, but look what they threw in. They say that they have permission, when you agree to make a comment in their paper, that they have the right to search your hard drive and your browsing history. Your hard drive. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is saying they have permission to violate your constitutional right, the Fourth Amendment. Now, why would they do that? Why would they want to search computers? Oh, well, they say that they also will be selling your information to third parties who also have the right to search your hard drive. Sorry, church, you've committed a crime. You have to reverse your privacy policy now and cease and desist all future activities. You know, who's going to take them to court? Somebody needs to take this to court. It's in the Deseret News privacy policy. Right there, they violated the Fourth Amendment. Blatantly. Somebody needs to take them to court and say, hey, this is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. They can't do this. They need to cease and desist right now. They need to pull all information obtained from people's computers. They need to take back all of the information given to third parties. See, people like me who would tell the truth about the church when the writer for the particular Deseret News article is doing propaganda in support of the church, and in the faith section, when it's talking about the church, you never get to comment. They won't let anyone comment when it's, you know, a faith thing on the church. It has to be a regular news where they'll only let you comment. And yeah, it's wrong, people. And Mormons, you may think, we don't care about the violation of the Constitution. We want the church protected. That's the same argument for people in allowing police to commit unreasonable searches and seizures with no warrant, not having probable cause, not supported by oath or affirmation, not describing the place, person, or thing. It's the same logic. We want to be safe. Those Mexicans are trying to get into our border and stab us in the middle of the night. You guys watch Fox. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You honestly believe the hype. You know, the Constitution already has a protection for us. What? Yes. It's the First Amendment. Allow me to read it to you. Congress shall make no law respecting, make no law, or, because it's got other things in here, so I've got to take out the prepositions and go right to the last preposition. So make no law respecting or abridging the right of the people to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Do you understand what that means? That means when my rights are violated, and my rights are life, liberty, property, when my life is being threatened, when somebody is trying to bully me, violating freedom of speech, you are not free to violate the rights of others. You cannot say white supremacy rules. You cannot say black supremacy rules. You can't say that. That's hate speech. And that violates other people's rights. It is a crime. Oh, but they're free to speak whatever they want. They just can't act on it. No, they can't. We are not allowed to say whatever we want. Because look at what Trump has done. Under his presidency, with his hate speech, blatant hate speech, white supremacist crimes have skyrocketed. Okay, so there was probably a pause in the video there as my video finished. So I don't know if you heard that. Crime has skyrocketed with Trump's hate speech. So he can't do that. You know, he is committing crimes as president, even though he's the illegitimate president, but everybody now accepts it. And that's the dangerous part. By accepting that Trump is the legitimate president, we're now getting into toleration. We're now tolerating Trump. It's just Trump being Trump. And then he acts on it. He makes executive orders. He has established a concentration camp at our borders. He is separating families. He's murdering kids. You know, America is not standing up. He is violating the Constitution, people's rights to life, liberty, property. And America, for the most part, has accepted him as president, tolerated his verbal abuse, and now he's committing blatant actions of crime. This can't happen. And just like in Utah, it can't happen. You can't have a church telling the Utah legislature, yes, we understand that the majority of Utah Mormons voted for medical marijuana, but we want it changed. See, first of all, this is a matter for doctors. If doctors indicate, hey, medical marijuana helps people with seizures, can the legislature make a law, even if it's regardless of whether the church interferes in that process, to violate people's rights to life? See, doctors are supposed to do no harm. Now, if they're under control of the pharmaceutical companies and what they're doing is not curing people, but instead treating symptoms and side effects, like psychiatrists do, yes, we've got problems. because people's rights to life are being violated. And any document that we the people sign saying we relinquish all rights to suing the doctor if he doesn't or if he kills us or causes further damage. No, we have the right to life. Doctors can't do whatever they want to us without being held accountable. They have to look for the cause. They have to go into the brain. They have to check our blood. They have to look at our DNA. They need to cure us. Now, yes, many times we bring on our own problems. You know, we eat junk food and our DNA says we can't handle junk food. My DNA says I can handle junk food. 23andMe, that's what it says. It's awesome. It says that I can't handle liquor. That it actually indicates that if I were to have alcohol, that I would be puking my guts up and I wouldn't be able to handle my liquor. And so, yeah, I've never touched the stuff other than cough syrup as administered by my mother. And so when I got into high school, I was realizing this isn't helping my cough, because it was not a cold symptom. It was a breathing problem. The cause was breathing in my lungs. When I fell down as a boy from about 20-30 feet off of a swinging rope and landed out flat on my back and was gasping for breath. That apparently caused damage, but no doctors ever looked for it, because the Boy Scout guys, they just made sure I was alive and away I went. So they didn't take me to the hospital because they didn't want to be liable for lawsuits and blah 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 and whatever. So do you understand, people? We are not following the Constitution. If we are violated, if we've been violated by somebody, whether in business, whether in society, whether in religion, whether in government, we have the right to petition for a redress of grievances. What does that mean? Because the practice is that the prosecution only takes cases they approve. No, they can't do that. They have to take every case. If we have had our rights violated, they have no choice but to be our counsel and petition for redress of grievances, even if it's the government that's causing the problem. There has to be checks and balances. This is part of that. See how it works with the Constitution rather than goes against it? And so, yes, you guys all know that the Miranda rights, which were law established by a judge, judges can't make law, you know, so there shouldn't be Miranda rights. But Miranda rights are a trap that police have found a way around. You know, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. But I'm innocent. 10 years to life. But I didn't do anything. 20 years to life. Plead guilty or we won't drop the time that you'll have to pay. You've already separated from me, from my family. You've already destroyed my work and employment, and my property is gone. I guess I have no choice but to plead guilty. You know that's the process. When we are arrested by a police officer, we are not secure in our possession, persons, houses, papers, and effects. They throw us in jail. Only the rich are able to make bond or bail, whatever it's called. The poor, they can't get out. They're stuck there. The homeless, they welcome being arrested because they get shelter for the first time in their life. You know, they finally are secure in their houses, even though they're not secure in their person. Huh. See, the homeless are sacrificing one right in order to have another right, which is really not a right. So yes, there shouldn't be poor. The Constitution says that if there are poor, it is a violation of the person's rights to their person, houses, papers, and effects. Americans are not supposed to be poor because that's a crime committed against them. So the church, why are there poor in Utah? Oh, well, we don't want to create a welfare state. I'm sorry, but isn't that the business's fault for not paying a living wage? For not lowering prices and having the wages compensate? Because if you raise prices for your products, you have to raise wages. If you don't raise wages, you're committing a crime against the people. Oh, but we can't sue the business because then the business will go out of business and people will be out of a job. Again, where's the checks and balances? They're gone. Businesses are allowed to violate our rights. The government won't stop them. And so, yes, we have police officers violating our rights. They're driving around looking for violators to give tickets in order to generate money for the city. That's a crime. That violates the Constitution. They can't do it. But they're criminals. They're trying to steal from us. Yes, that's a crime that they steal from you. But why are they in a position to need to steal? Because the government allows it. Allows business to violate our rights as well. Social Security, the welfare, it's less than minimum wage. Well, it's a deterrent. Oh, no, it's attempted murder. But again, people are accepting it, they're tolerating it, and when things happen, people don't know who's to blame, and they blame the wrong people. When somebody robs your house, yes, that person is to blame, but that person has a problem of someone else who is to blame, the government or businesses. You know, there was a story of a homeless person who kept hanging out in front of a fast food restaurant and begging for money, and then the fast food restaurant manager came out, offered him a job at his fast food restaurant. The homeless person turned him down because he makes more money begging. That's the sad part. That a fast food job isn't enough for a man to take care of himself, to have home, all the basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, communication, transportation. What about for his family? What if he's married? What if he has kids? Oh, well, he just needs to quit his job and get a better one. Oh? Do you see what people are doing? They're blaming the victim rather than taking responsibility for violating our rights and being held accountable for violating our rights. Okay, we're at 34 minutes, and I wanted to show the Utah statute about where they made the law for Utah Law Code Police search and seize without warrant. Okay. All right. Utah Law Code Index, Title 77, Utah Code of Criminal Procedure. Chapter 7, Arrest, by whom and how made. And then arrest defined, restraint allowed, arrest by peace officers. That's what they're calling them, peace officers. They have guns, but they're called peace officers. Man. Okay, manner of making arrest, issuance of summons or warrant, times and places arrest may be made, contents of warrants and summons, responsibility of transporting prisoners, county court clerk to dispense restitution for transportation. Magistrate may orally or order arrest by private persons. See, we have the right to say, hey, somebody's violating our rights. I want them arrested. All right, forcible entry to conduct search and or make arrest. Weapons may be taken from prisoner. Telegraph or telephone authorization of execution of arrest warrant. Possession of warrant. There's lots of sections here. I wanted to find the one that I'm not sure which one it is in, and I would have to read all of them in order to find it. Reasonable grounds. Warrant by peace officers. Exemption from civil or criminal liability. See, here, they're going into so much detail. They don't need any of this. The Constitution already is in place. Congress does not need to make law after law after law after law, getting specific, getting detailed. It's already in the Constitution. I shouldn't have to be searching to try to find unconstitutionality in this. Authority of peace officer to stop and question suspect. Grounds. Authority of peace officer to frisk suspect for dangerous weapon. That's the search and frisk that Blue Bloods had been talking about. And I think on Chris Hayes' show last night, I remember somebody talking about the search and frisk. And take possession of weapons. Again, people have the right to possess effects. A gun is an effect. The right to own guns is not in the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court got it wrong. It's already in the Constitution in the Fourth Amendment. The right to possess effects. To be secure in your effects. All right, citation on misdemeanor or infraction charge. Serving a citation, records, improper disposition or canceling, quotas for arrests. They should have this saying, no, you can't do quotas, but they all do it. How else is the city going to generate money? You know, the fire department isn't working it for the city. You know, the Utah has banned firefighters from stopping people in the street to collect money in boots. So, yeah, let's go to the first one, arrest by peace officers, section 2. All right. A peace officer may make an arrest under authority of warrant or may, without warrant, arrest a person. Boom. Gone. Down. See? Violation of the Constitution. The Utah legislature has made a law violating the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. This is unconstitutional. But Utahns have accepted tolerated, and now they're being violated. So, yeah. And here they justify it. 1A, for any public offense committed or attempted in the presence of any peace officer. No. Unless they're off duty and they're with their family, and just like any other citizen who can make an arrest. We, the people, have the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And so if somebody commits a crime in public or against us in private, we have the right to seek redress of grievances, to have a lawyer. But we do not have the right to have a police force patrolling, looking for violators. You don't see firemen driving around looking for fire violations, handing out tickets. I'm not suggesting that they start, because that's a violation of the Constitution. You don't see EMPs driving around looking for violators of the health law. You're too fat. Ticket. $80. That would be horrifying. And so, yeah, there it is, right there. Without warrant. Police officers, who they call peace officers. They're using a pacification word. You know, Mormons. The Book of Mormon, Lucifer's tactics, flattery, pacification, deception, anger. That's Lucifer's tactics. They are saying that police officers are peace officers, and they have the right to make an arrest without a warrant. And Utah police officers take advantage of this. They abuse the system. When somebody calls in a complaint, they make an arrest. When they see somebody speeding, they pull them over. Oh, we happen to have a dog who sniffs out drugs. Oops, busted, arrested. We're searching your vehicle now. We're searching everything. They can't do that, because they can't be wandering around without a warrant with the specific place, name, and thing. See, police officers patrolling the streets, it's a general place, not a specific place. There is no person. It's whoever violates the law as they see it. And thing. Random. Whatever is contraband. It's a constitutional violation. And right here, Utah legislature exposed on Travis TV. Travis News. I'm not official news, but I'm just a citizen. What do I know? Police officers have no rights. The state of Utah has no rights to make laws, to commit actions that violate the constitutional rights. And people say, how are we going to be protected? Have you not heard of 911? When your house is on fire, what do? Just say, where are the fire department? Why aren't they patrolling our streets? No, you call. My house is on fire. Get here quick. What do you do if you've been robbed? You call the police. They take them to court where you will have your day to seek a redress of grievances. It's supposed to be speedy. It's not supposed to take months or years. But that's what they do, because we've accepted the unconstitutionality, we've tolerated the unconstitutional actions, and now we're complaining about the wrong causes. The system already is set up. We just have to follow it. By following it, then you will find out what works and what is unconstitutional, so that an amendment needs to be made. So, 45 minutes. I hope you understand. They do not have the rights to violate our rights. So all of these cop killings, they shouldn't have happened in the first place had they stayed in their department, their building, their police house, police station, and waited for someone to call for help. And then all they do is take them to the courts. Because just because somebody is making an accusation doesn't mean the accusation is true. You need a trial to determine if the person is telling the truth. And it's not about how a defendant can get away with criminal behavior, or an accuser can destroy the life of another. That's not what it's all about. You see, the Me Too movement, that was long overdue, but then other people stepped in to try to ruin it because they knew the system. You know, Harvey Weinstein, he just finally is saying, okay, yeah, we can take him to court now. It's been a year. That's unacceptable. You know, all of his movies are, you know, all of his work that he's done previously has been destroyed. And yet, you know, he may be guilty because Hollywood is notorious for sexual abuse in making stars. You know, the whole casting couch thing. You know, I'll make you a star. Just, you know, take off your clothes. Have sex with me. I'll make you a star. That's a crime. And Harvey Weinstein may be guilty, but he hasn't been convicted by a jury of peers in a speedy trial. Justice has been denied because justice has been delayed. All the victims, you know, yeah, they've ruined his life, but are there some who are trying to say, yeah, I was part of that too, when they really weren't? We don't know because nobody stepped up when it happened. Took the matter to court immediately. They all waited. And sometimes, yeah, you're being threatened by the person to be silent. Non-disclosure agreements in business. You can't talk about our criminal behavior, etc., etc. Yes, I can go on and on. I wrote a book about it and was violated of my rights and incarcerated for 6 years for writing a book about the violations of the Constitution by the Utah government and by the George Bush administration. So, yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about here. And so, yeah, Utah government doesn't like me. They now ignore me. When I petition for a redress of grievances, they ignore me. I have got a complaint. Rights are being violated, and they do not want to have it go to court because it would destroy their system. People would lose jobs. You know, like they can't get another job that's more legitimate, more honest, where the owners of the businesses are honest, not criminal, not wanting you to be a part of their crime family organization, part of their crime team organization. Oh, you're a Mormon? You're in. So, yeah, it's already 50 minutes now. I can go on and on this. When are you people going to realize that we are being violated? It needs to stop. We cannot allow it to continue. We will not have peace. We will not have a millennium of peace, you know, as you're all hoping for. You're wanting Jesus to come back and destroy the wicked and then establish peace. None of you are willing to stand up and fight for your life, your liberty, your property. So, yeah, destruction is imminent because we've allowed this to happen for so long. Okay, that's it. I need to upload the other video anyway.